Hi everyone. I am Alvika. I am a product manager on the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 team. And I'm joined today by my colleague Daria. And today we'll be walking through some of the features that we've added into Teams and some of the additional capabilities that we've added recently. So just wanted to start by talking about why we are protecting Teams. So Microsoft Teams is really a very widely used collaboration tool. This is where we see many users spend their time. And so attackers know this. And so as a result, they're pivoting their strategies to exploit vulnerabilities within Teams. And so we see that the threat landscape is really expanding beyond email, and attackers are starting to move over to Microsoft Teams, especially with Teams having over 320 million active users. We're seeing threats across chats, meetings, callings, channels, especially as organizations are also starting to federate with each other. And so as a result, securing teams is very essential because attackers have found it to be just a valuable tool for targeting customers through phishing, fraud, and a lot of other malicious activities. And today we have over 300 known threat actors in Teams. And so attacks within the service can really just happen in minutes with how instantaneous Teams are. So one of the challenges is that not many users are as familiar with the security risks within Teams. And so as a result, this leads to a high level of inherent trust. And so that's why we're really working on actively introducing a lot of new features in Teams protection to equip users with the right tools that they need to combat some of these attacks. So now let's kind of talk about how we approach this from Defender for Office. We're following a similar model we use for email security. We're first focusing on prevention by really addressing any known threats and integrating any protective measures. Next, we'll kind of detect threats that can't always be prevented up front. And so allowing us to react and kind of remediate issues as they arise more post-delivery. And then a key aspect of this approach is giving customers the ability to also investigate any threats. And so this requires additional logging. And so security teams can analyze any activity, identify threats in real time, and really take action. And then on your right, you'll kind of see a response strategy. And so this includes any mitigation and remediation as well. So in the team space, this means blocking senders, removing harmful users, or even blocking domains. And we'll kind of talk about those more later in the presentation. So one of the features that we've had in Teams for a while is safe links. So safe links is essentially a security feature in Defender for Office that protects users from any malicious URLs. Safe links is basically doing a check, and it checks the URL at the moment that the user clicks it in Teams, not just when the message is sent. And this is important because a link that might look safe when it's shared, it can also become dangerous later. And so for users, the experience is pretty seamless. So when a user clicks on a link in a Teams message, either from a Teams chat, group chat, or from a channel, SafeLinks will check the URL in real time. And then if the link is safe, the user is directed to the site as usual. And then if the link is unsafe, the warning page appears in the default web browser, just letting the user know that the website looks suspicious. And so you'll kind of see that over here. This is what the warning page looks like. So building on safe links, I want to talk about what happens when users actually click any malicious URLs in Teams. We recently introduced two new alerts that essentially give security teams visibility to any malicious URL clicks in Teams. And so when the system really identifies a URL as potentially malicious, and then if a user goes and clicks on it in Teams, the warning page is displayed, informing the user of the potential risk. But if the safe links policy allows the user to kind of click through, they're given the option to proceed despite the warning, and the user continues to do that, effectively clicking through the warning, security analysts are notified via a system-generated alert, and the title of the alert is "A user clicked through to a potentially malicious URL." And then we also release a second second alert. And so if a user clicks on a URL in Teams and they're able to successfully access the website, but then the URL is later come back and it's reclassified and it's determined to be malicious, we also will generate a system alert. And so the alert essentially is notifying security teams that a user in their organization previously clicked on an alert that was later identified as malicious. So security analysts are notified via an alert that's titled "A potentially malicious URL was detected." We also have some investigation in the Defender portal where admins can go and hunt on this data as well, in addition to the alert triggering. But these alerts don't really live in isolation. So they roll up to incidents. So as you can see here, when related detections are kind of grouped together, they help tell this full attack story and just overall help SOC teams respond faster. So the other feature that we have in Teams as well is safe attachments. Safe attachments helps protect users from any malicious files that are shared in, again, Teams chats, channels, and meetings. And essentially what is happening is when a file is uploaded or shared in Teams, safe attachments will automatically scan it and it'll analyze its behavior. And then if the file is determined to be malicious, it's blocked in place and users can't open it, download it, or share it. So that really prevents threat from spreading. So as you can see here, this is kind of what the blocked page looks like. Um, so, so at the same time, security teams also have the ability to investigate any of these shared file events in the Defender portal and then take any additional response actions as well as needed. So another set of features that we released, and now we've kind of brought down to lower SKUs in Defender for Office as well, is ZAP for Teams. So ZAP stands for Zero Hour Auto Purge, and essentially it's a post-delivery protection capability that automatically blocks and then will quarantine any internal Teams messages. And then if they're basically if they're later determined to be malicious, and this is after delivery. So if a message containing a malicious URL is classified as malware or high confidence phish, Zap will automatically intervene without any manual action required. And then Zap will trigger on the message. The message will be blocked for all of the users in the chat and is essentially placed into an admin managed quarantine. And so this kind of ensures the threat is removed immediately and just really preventing any further exposure or interaction. In addition to that, you'll see the message can be investigated in the admin quarantine experience. So this is from the Defender portal. So you can see all of the messages, there's a Teams message section where all of the Teams messages that are quarantined appear. And so when a message is opened, it also opens the Teams entity panel. And so that really provides rich context to help determine whether any additional action is required. So here you can see details such as where the message was posted, who the sender and recipients were, any associated threat signals or indicators, and it allows admins to really quickly understand the scope scope and potential impact of the message. And you'll kind of see this similar side panel across our experiences in Defender. When associating with the Teams message, you'll be able to get this message metadata. From here, admins also have the ability to preview the message content. And then if the message is determined to be a false positive, they also have the ability to release the message, and then it gets restored and basically unblocked for all of the users in the original chat. So together, SAP Quarantine and the Teams Entity Panel really give security teams the visibility, context, and really control they need to investigate and respond to threats in Teams. I think I actually might have lost control here. Right. So in addition, to some of the ZAP capabilities that we released, we also have something called inline message protection. And so essentially what it is when messages containing any known malicious URLs, they will kind of get delivered into the team system with a warning tip. And so this kind of ensures threats are stopped in real time. So the actual message is still delivered, but there's a safety warning tip on the message, essentially letting the recipient know the message could contain any malicious content. And so this is a shift from some of the reactive detection to some of the more proactive prevention, helping overall reduce risk and protect users from engaging with harmful content. And so this protection applies to both cross-tenant and within-tenant collaboration, a little bit different from the ZAP piece, which was just specific to internal collaboration. So in addition to the inline protection as it kind of gets delivered, we also have post-delivery protection for Teams messages. So essentially, it's just another layer of defense, and the feature protects end users from malicious URLs that are weaponized after delivery. So meaning if a link was safe at the time of sending, but then it later becomes malicious, we will detect it retroactively and add a warning tip on the message. So again, the message will actually still be visible to the recipient, but there'll be that warning tip letting them know that it contains any malicious content, and we know that there's no malicious URLs in the message. And then these features are on by default, so customers can really benefit from protection out of the box without needing to take any type of additional action as well. So it's all on by default. And so now I kind of want to discuss some of the investigation capabilities. So we were talking a lot about the protection, but we also have advanced hunting, which is essentially a query-based threat hunting capability in Microsoft Defender that allows security teams to kind of search data to find threats, any suspicious activity, or any indicators of compromise. We have three tables for Teams messages specifically. That's the message events table, the message post delivery events table, and the message URL table. And essentially what these tables do is provide visibility into Teams messages, so a message metadata on the messages in itself, along with any of our detections that happened pre and post delivery. And then URL details as well, which overall just enable faster detection and investigation. SOC teams also have the ability to hunt on all external messages and then any internal messages with URLs that have essentially passed through their organization. They can investigate metadata for all external messages, not just the ones with URLs. And we know this is an increasingly critical area as collaboration kind of starts to expand beyond organizational boundaries. And in teams, you can collaborate cross organizations. We also have hunting APIs that are available, which allows the SOC teams to automate and scale any hunting, like threat hunting workflows. And overall, these enhancements are designed to give SOC teams greater control, deeper insights, and faster response capabilities, helping them really stay ahead of evolving threats in the modern workplace. So as you can see here, I just have an example query. So this query is helping identify any malicious messages that contain URLs that are known malicious. And then we've also gone in and added that tip on the message. So we've added that warning tip for end users. So you can hunt on that, and that's called the URL safety tip. Here's another example of a query. So we released a large set of queries for some of these Teams tables, but this one here specifically is designed to identify any potentially malicious Teams messages that are sent by external users. And it's looking for messages where the sender name matches a list of known suspicious names. And so, for example, here it's looking for help desk. And so by filtering for messages that are externally initiated threats that the organization doesn't allow, we can surface any high-risk communications that really warrant any type of investigation. I will now hand it over to Daria to cover some of the additional features.
Yeah, thanks, Malvika. So, along with all the prediction and hunting capabilities which Malvika just talked about, we actually have something called end user reporting. It's very much similar to how a user can report a message in Outlook. They can actually report a message in Teams. It can be done from all the surfaces inside Teams, from a chat, from a channel, from a meeting, and both internal and external messages can be reported. It's available across Linux, Mac, Windows, the web, and across Android and iOS mobile apps. So as you can see, you can just go to a message, right click on the message, and there is the report the message option. When you click on that, it will select report the message as security risk for messages which don't have a warning. For messages which has a warning, like the message this like this message, it will show up report the message as not security risk, like this is a good message. Once the message is reported based on the settings you have in the user reported settings of the Defender portal, the report is either sent to Microsoft or it goes to the admin or it goes to both the admin and Microsoft. So these are the layouts of the reporter message on mobile apps. As you can see, when you right click the message, the pop-up shows up in the mobile client. The report message is there. And for messages which don't have a warning, this is the option where security concern is selected. They can also enter an optional description and which can go up to 200 characters as shown below. And that optional text shows up on the portal as well as the reporting mailbox when the email is delivered with the details so that you have insights into okay why the user is reporting this message. Apart from this, we actually rolled out a few more alerts, few more detections. One of the alerts is when actually a mail bomb is identified. Like mail bomb is like a group of spam mail which is sent to somebody or like a group of individuals in the organization, and after that mail bomb there is a call made from somebody outside the organization who are trying to say okay we are the help desk, and they will say okay you got a mail bomb, like how do we help you solve it, and the person is like so annoyed with the mail bomb they are like okay yeah please help me out, and then they ask the user to share the screen, and when they do the remote desktop they install malware and they actually have access to the user's system, and then they carry out malicious activities. So we actually added that alert along with the user reporting alert. And yeah, you see potential malicious IT team support impersonation post mail bombing. We also have enriched the data about the in the Teams message report alerts. You can actually get more information which was missing before, like URL, participants, and information like this. And this alerts also flow into the Sentinel and advanced hunting queries. So you can actually hunt over these alerts. So there is protection, there is hunting capabilities, there is user reporting, there is detection in form of alerts. But how do you respond to attacks on Teams? So the next few slides will actually cover about those. So one of the actions which we released recently was remove a user. So SOC can actually remove users from malicious team conversations, and they can do it if they have MD or P2 licenses, and the required Entra roles are security operator and security admin on the Defender portal to go ahead and remove users from malicious chats, which where they are saying malicious activities being happening. The second action which they can do is actually they can block domains and senders. So when you block domains or senders in the tenant or block list in the list called team senders, it actually goes ahead and blocks these domains and senders on Teams. So you won't see any new message come on any new call or any new meeting come across from them, and all existing communications will be blocked and they will be deleted. So new communication is blocked, no existing communication is blocked. So no trace of the attacker, like either the domain or the subdomain or the sender exist. There are a few prerequisites for this. You need to ensure that on the Teams admin center, it's configured to block only specific domains. You have enabled blocking users. And then on the tag portal, the Teams admin center portal, like the tag portal, you have to mention that you are allowing the security admins to manage the blocked domains and blocked users from the tenant allow block list. The audit logs for this are generated and are present in advanced hunting. You can see both the audit logs of Teams and the MDO portal, so you can understand, okay, like I made this entry and somebody else inserted this entry. And so you have complete visibility across what's going into both Teams and MDO to understand who is blocking what and who is deleting what entries. Apart from that, we actually just released Zap, and we expanded Zap like zero hour auto purge, the post delivery capability protection capability to move messages to quarantine when found malicious, and ability for users to report messages into MDO P1 licenses. So now the same protection capabilities are available in both MDO P1 and P2. Having said that, like this slide actually talks about, okay, what is available to different SKUs across the benefits we offer. So as you can see, the built-in scanning, virus protection and the scanning is available to everybody who has a Teams license, while as safe links, safe attachments, tenant allow block list, zero-hour auto purge and quarantine and the user reporting are available for both P1 and P2. While if you look at advanced hunting and the alerts of spam bombing and like phishing for phone calls, they are available in P2. This is just the starting. We actually have a lot more coming. We are releasing out report a suspicious call in Microsoft Teams. Malvika also mentioned that they are releasing a new URL click alert via Microsoft inside the Defender portal. Along with that, we are going to enable the capability to hunt on calls. Messages we have covered a lot of hunting capabilities. For calling, you don't have any visibility of what's going on. So we are releasing suspicious like reporting call and hunting capabilities for calls before building any more remediation or detections in the call space. You can always track what is going on the roadmap. Just go to this link and select the product as Microsoft Defender for Office 365, search for the word Teams, and then like in the status, select in development or rolling out, and you can find all the things which are being released. With that said, when once the slides are shared by with Vignesh to you, you can actually access the team setup guide we have set up, and you can use that to understand more about more in details about the features we have discussed, the different types of attacks, and like what features are available across which SKUs and what's coming next. I also shared the link over the chat. We can get started with any questions if anybody has any questions.
Yes, I have a question. So the safe link and the safe attachment you talked about on Teams that the previous representative spoke on Teams. Are those enabled by default, or do we need to go to Defender portal to create those policies?
Alika?
Yeah, so safe links is enabled by default as part of built-in protection. Safe attachments you'll have to turn on at a tenant level, so that's within the safe attachments policy. There's a toggle to turn it on for Teams. But we definitely recommend checking to make sure that you have all of the policies turned on and it's not being overridden by any other policies for safe links specifically.
Any other questions?
The one that I showed everything here, is it all in GA, right? It is not in
Yeah,
prod.
everything is rolled out. Everything is in GA, whatever is shown. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, only the upcoming roadmap items that Daria said will be kind of coming soon. So more around the calling pieces, and then the URL click alerts is just continuing to roll out. We started with some of the rollouts there.
Sorry, just a follow question to what I asked earlier. So
Mhm.
where at the tenant level do you need to go to verify that those are the safe links already enabled?
Yes,
Is
so
that in
if you
different? Go on.
yeah, so if you go to the safe links policies and the safe attachment policies within the email and collab, so email and collab policies, and then you'll see safe links and you'll see safe attachments. From there, you can confirm that's enabled. I will drop some links in the chat as well.
Okay, any further questions from anyone? All right, if you have any questions, you can post it on the Teams chat.